Okay, well, look, guys, this is Healthcare Unfiltered, and I'm literally beyond excited about this because I have Twitter's most adorable or controversial or like unbelievable couple. Like, we don't know. We were able to.
Controversial.
Well, you have a husband that's controversial. So we're gonna actually get to the story because there's a lot of people who are wondering who are these two who poke fun of each other on Twitter socially, and they yet live with each other. So I'm here with the Goodmans. Goodmans, welcome to the Healthcare.
Dr. and Dr. Goodman, please.
Dr. and Dr. Goodman.
As an aside, my last name is Aleck.
Yeah, she didn't take the Goodman tradition. She's an Aleck.
No problem.
I was offended.
Yeah, Dr. Amalia Goodman.
She's Dr. Aleck, not Goodman.
Yes. Can we start by, please, you telling us how in the world did you meet this guy?
Well, we were in the same medical school class, so we were going to meet because there were only 100 of us. But we weren't very good friends. We weren't friends really at all for several years.
You're still not, but yeah.
Well, yeah, we make things work. And then towards the end of medical school, we had a big party, and I don't know.
He asked you out?
We discovered that we both have 847 phone numbers, and for whatever reason, we thought that was the coolest thing ever, and I fell in love with his dog.
Like, was he charming when he asked you out?
Yeah, he did.
Can I just tell the full story? She's making this PG, so let's. She's embarrassed, and let's tell the full story. So we went to Emory Medical School in Atlanta, and we were in the same class as 100, and I was single, and I just, me and my good buddies, we made a mental note. I don't want to get canceled, so I got to be good.
No, don't worry. This is Healthcare Unfiltered.
But yes, so me and my buddies made a mental note who the married girls were. We didn't want to, we don't want to cause trouble. So, and I thought Amalia was married, actually. And I found her very attractive from the get-go when I first saw her, but I thought she was married. And the reason why is I ran into her one time when she was she had a small child with her. I won't get into the specifics, but I thought it was her kid. I thought she even had a kid. So okay, I'll stop.
Okay, she had a kid.
Anyway, whatever. So she was off limits.
She
was off limits. But then there was a party. It was a themed party.
One second. Sorry. So okay, you were at a party, and
it was a themed party. It was called. You had to dress in white, okay? And this was between our 3rd and 4th year of medical school in the summer. And I had white clothes, but I remember I was with actually a colleague of mine who's now at UCSD with me. We spent like an hour driving around Atlanta. I had this dead set. I wanted white sunglasses. I thought I'd be cool looking, be more, more favorable to the females in attendance. So we went to like 4 different shops, and I finally found the perfect pair of white sunglasses, and I put them on. And when we're at the party, we may or may not have had some alcoholic beverages. We did not drive. And
you probably had alcohol. Okay.
Yes, yeah, there was some alcohol, but we were at this point, I wasn't a genius. I was over 21, and someone stole my white sunglasses, and it was not Amalia. It was actually a different girl. And not to make things super complicated, I'm not going to talk about that girl because we're not going to talk about her. But she stole my sunglasses.
We're going to talk about her. Wow.
Okay, okay. But she stole my sunglasses, and I was like, okay.
How dare she?
Yeah, what?
How dare she steal your sunglasses?
How dare she? She stole them, and I don't know what's trying to get my attention, but whatever, she stole them. And like an hour or so later, like I see Amalia wearing my white sunglasses.
I stole them from her.
She stole them from her. And I see, this is a true story. I see Amalia wears them. So I'm like, hey, she's looking pretty good. I know she's super smart. I'm like, and we start talking. And within the first few minutes of talking, I get the digits fast. And when I got the digits fast, I realized, my text game's strong. It was back then.
Wait. First of all, hold on. There was no text game when you were like.
No, yeah, there was.
So we just texted.
I get the digits, and her area code's 847, and so is mine, because I grew up in Chicago, and your experience in Chicago was.
I went to
She
Northwestern.
went to Northwestern. She's smart. I went to University of Illinois, not as good. And go Illini. We started talking, and then we talked more. And amazingly, our parents, remember, we're in Atlanta. Our parents lived about 12 miles apart in Phoenix, Arizona, of all places. And that was like too much coincidence at that time. I think that's what got us going. And then we talked more, and then she can tell her side of the story, but I thought things were going very well from my standpoint, and the night was winding down. And then this other friend of hers, name won't be listed. He's a physician now. Took her away from me. Actually, escorted her out, away from me, even though she was clearly into the conversation, clearly digging me. Her friend, which was a dude, not a girl, escorted her away. Do you want to tell that side of the story?
Wait, so there was another guy who was trying to keep you away from Aaron.
Yes.
Well,
Let me hear from her. Let me hear from her. Go ahead, Amalia.
So I lived in medical school with the most amazing 5 other humans in this big house. It was like the best 4 years of my life. And it was time for us to go, and we stuck together. So they dragged me away, threw me in a car, and we left. I can't remember where we ended up going at the end of the night. And then the next day I left for my pizza rotation, which was away. And so I was gone for a month.
Like in another state, I believe.
Yeah, I was in Arizona.
So you were gone for a month after he already took your phone number. You exchanged numbers.
Yeah.
And then now, was there really text messages back then? I mean, you guys are ancient. You're not ancient, Amalia. No.
I think
You're not.
We're not that ancient. We text all the time.
We're not 70 like you getting your third colonoscopy.
I mean,
we're in our. I'm in my 30s. I won't say my wife's age, but
I wish I got my colonoscopy when I was 20. But let me ask you a question. So what was your first date? What happened? Like, you exchanged phone numbers? When did you go on your first date?
Yeah, when I came back from Arizona, we met up. He was at the park walking the dog, and we met up and we walked the dog after I was on rotation. I can't remember medicine.
yeah, completely.
And so we met up and walked the dog. He lived really close to a big park. And then I would call that our first date. He says our first date was this night we made fajitas.
Yeah, I mean,
And
at
that's fun,
first,
too.
so we would walk. I mean, she's embarrassed, but what we would do is we would walk, and we would go to this little store in downtown Atlanta and pick up instant lottery tickets. And like we did do that every
All
time.
the time.
And like we
and
both
I'm
had
not
this,
embarrassed about it
we
at all.
both had this, and probably
We love
alcoholic beverages, and
scratchers.
we would walk and get scratchers, and we both enjoyed scratchers. And yeah, she was smart.
True.
She was brilliant. She was beautiful. Her family lived close to mine, but it was the scratchers. Then I knew it because I love scratchers, which I know is stupid, but I love scratchers. And when I finally found a girl that I could share that passion with, I know I'm being serious, because there was enough. And you liked my dog. The prior GF hated the Watson, my dog. There was a lot,
But by then the white glasses have disappeared, right? We got rid of the white glasses.
No,
She kept them. Yeah, we still have them.
You still okay? What, you still have the white glasses?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is okay. So okay. Did you ever win anything with lottery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm a pro.
But the happiest one ever was the first time we won like $50. We were in the car. We were in medical school. We were broke as can be. We won $50, and we were like screaming and hugging and
It
stuff.
was awesome.
But then right before we got married, a couple months before we got married, Aaron won
In residency when we were poor.
5,000
5G.
scratcher, and like they took his picture.
Took
put
my
it on a
picture.
poster.
You go to the gas station that said $5,000 winner here. I had to go to the thing, and I got the
was so
lottery
cool.
store. It was awesome.
And I blew it all on our wedding,
Yeah.
like immediately. But it was the coolest thing. Yeah.
So I like to think in the grand scheme of things, we're up on the lottery.
I think we are
Yeah.
up, but we do play a lot.
So you finished middle school in Emory. Did you do residency in the same place?
You left out the most important
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
when I
one,
said the
one,
postman? No.
wait a minute. One in Northwestern. Amalia was in Northwestern, which is clearly superior to where Papa went to medical to residency.
Undergrad.
Undergrad.
For undergrad,
Okay.
for undergrad,
Where
yeah.
was residency?
Oh, WashU,
Both of
Washington
you?
University, St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Did you have to couple match?
Yes.
We did. And
Was
we
that
did
hard?
not know each other real well then.
Yeah, you can tell, but I'll just say this. It was between third and fourth year we met. And for those who are doctors in the audience, know that you start applying to residency, that summer and like right then.
Like we
So
maybe had already applied to programs.
we had to make the most important, I remember we'd make the most important decision of our life, which I think was couples matching very fast.
I did not think it
Well,
was the most
to me, couples match meant marriage.
It just meant we were staying together for this next piece. But it's pretty intense. And you know, couples are falling apart all around you. And
but how difficult was it to couple match? Like, I mean, it must be like you had limited options because you had to go to the same program, no?
Well, we're both geniuses, so we were not worried about.
That is not the case.
We were not worried about getting in.
What we did was, honestly, we looked at big cities that we had already applied to in common, and we added, because you can apply late, we added a couple programs like in LA. We both were already applying to.
Yeah, you left us. She's in anesthesia. You never said it, but we were different things.
Yeah, and I also was applying to general surgery, so it was like a big, complicated mess. But we were just trying to get to the same city, essentially. And we definitely got it in a very honest way. You know, Aaron had initially planned to do neurosurgery. Okay. So his application was like phenomenal. Yeah. And I was like initially thinking I'd do peds or something. So I wasn't like a gunner researcher or something like that. And so it was very clear that like, you know, if we didn't match, it was going to be on me. My program was much more competitive.
But we already know you. We already know you're much smarter. So I mean, he just went with whatever he could get. I mean, we know that.
Well, it turned out on paper I was not quite as smart, but it worked out. We got our first choice, and it would have been okay for like 4 choices down, I would say, and then it would have been a little dicey. Like, you know, we had one set where he would be at UCLA and I would be at Irvine, and that could be a 3-hour drive in LA, right? So that would have.
So how long did you date before he proposed? And then you gotta tell me, how did this happen? Because I mean, everybody is wondering how does somebody.
I don't really think many people are wondering, but I like telling the story. So we were dating 3 years, but to me, the big decision was couples matching, which was like 1 minute. I decided in my head that if I'm going to couples, at least in my head, I decided if I was going to couples match, I was going to marry her. Whether I shared that with you or not, I probably didn't. But it was our end of second, third year of residency, and I went and I got I don't know crap about jewelry. Big surprise. And I used my mom's help. She had a guy in Chicago actually where I bought it. I went to the jeweler road. I bought a ring, and then I had the whole night planned where I have the proposal set, which I'll tell you. And I'm going to do it. And then my wife's like, oh, this couple invited us over for dinner. And she had like this big crush on this couple and was dying to be friends with them. The Gackles. I love the Gackles. But she was waiting for this invitation. And I had this whole thing planned, including staying the night at a hotel and a dinner. And I was like, she was like so excited. And I'm like, man, this what I'm going to do is probably going to be more disappointing than the night with the Gackles. So I canceled everything. And we did have a wonderful night. I distinctly remember she made these good root vegetables. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, much better cooked than me. I postponed it to the next week. And what I did was, it's kind of stupid. I hid a bottle of cheap champagne in a bush in the middle of the park. We always walk our dog in the park, and we walk him late. And I wanted it to be a surprise, so I hid the bush in the bush. And so like. We're walking and I'm like, and then I have the ring like in my, I didn't hide the ring because that would be stupid. I had the ring in my like sweatshirt thing. I was so nervous. I was like, had my hands in my, whatever. And we were walking and all of a sudden I'm like, I dropped something in the bush and I pick up and I was on my knee and she was surprised. You were definitely surprised. So that's how it happened. Then we went to a nice dinner and we stayed at a hotel, which had a casino.
So Amalia, I guess you said yes. How many seconds did you have to wait before you said yes?
I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
It was very fast.
Yeah, we were.
Wasn't like 2-3 hours. It's like, let me think about it.
I thought it. No, I was game. I was in.
Yeah. I mean, but at the time you did not. I mean, how was his hair like? I mean, let's be real. I mean, how was his hairstyle? I think
I sent you a picture of how it used to look because I know you're always really worried about his hair.
I am.
I think I sent a picture of when we got married. His hair was very short, actually, at the time.
Yeah, I've had hair.
This was a COVID creation, really. I mean, he had wild hair before, but this
I've had longer hair than this once. In college, I had hair longer, but this is the second longest.
at the time, his hair was shorter when
It was normal. You know, I
Yeah,
still,
it was
at that point, I was still dressing up
Yeah.
for residency,
Yeah.
which has stopped, yeah.
So then, so you got married, congratulations. And then how did the UCSD come about?
Well,
You also had to couple,
so-
you also had to couple faculty, like looking for a couple, like
no,
how
it
did
was
this work?
kind of actually a little bit of a bummer because
You're bringing up a sad moment in our life,
No,
okay?
it's not a sad moment.
I mean, it
It's
was
just part of
hard.
it. So Aaron, I told Aaron because he had to wait for me because my program was 4 and his was 3, and so he did a chief year, which actually I think was one of his favorite years.
Best year ever, I advised
Yeah,
chief residency.
except for we had Layla.
We were
and
first
she
kid,
was,
yeah.
woo, she was rough. I was like, you know what? You waited for me. Just wherever you want to go is great.
Because she was not planning on doing additional training.
Well, yeah, I was thinking I'd put it off for a year or 2 and then get back to it. So wherever you want to go is great, and we'll figure it out later. And when he came to San Diego, it was like, this is it. I just love it here. The city's fantastic. The program's fantastic. I said, great, let's try to get in, you know. So we did. And then there were no jobs in San Diego when I finished. Like UCSD had a hiring freeze. The main group in town was really looking for people who were going to be full-time taking call. There's a really big group in San Diego. And then there's another group up north, and they didn't have much either. And, you know, I had this tiny baby, and I was like, I'm not going to be full-time. I just don't think I can handle it. And she was a really tough baby. So I took a private practice job in Arizona that was like per diem.
Where our families live.
And so my mom was able to take care of our terror baby while we had 2 babies by then.
Yeah, we had 2. We kept
We
going.
had 2 kids. So I was schlepping them back and forth between Arizona and San Diego just with me.
And I was a
And he
fellow, and
was a
she was.
fellow.
It was hard.
So I was working there to pay his rent here. And
But we
it
did.
was fun.
You know,
Fun.
most weekends she would come, or I would go when I wasn't crazy on fellowship, and like we would sometimes spend extended periods. So like, and it's a 6-hour drive. So, but it was tough. We did that for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
We did
And
it.
I flew. In fact, Layla that year earned Southwest drink tickets in the mail. I don't think I'd ever had a 2-year-old fly so much. I mean, she was flying like, you know, nonstop.
She has status already at the age of 2. So then
She has
after 2
status,
years,
yeah.
you're able to reunite after that, and you were together at San Diego.
So it was after Aaron started working here. I mean, you know, there wasn't a point to it when he was a fellow and we didn't know if he could have a job here. Because if he was going to have to move, then why should I take a job for a year? I was very happy working in Arizona, actually. The only bummer was being separated. But until he signed on at UCSD, it didn't make sense for me to go for it. But then at that point, you know, his department kind of called my department and was like, can you make up some space for her? And they did. So,
Well, I told my division BMT that my wife has to be here, and you know.
Basically, you did the ultimatum. You said, hey, you want the Aaron,
Yeah.
you get the Amalia with that.
Yeah, that was part of it. Or we would have gone. I was looking at Arizona and places like that.
Yeah, and we were.
I would have
fine
fit in
with
great at the Mayo team, the myeloma team there, man. I would have really melded with them. I was looking at those places, you know, in Arizona, although I wanted to stay in San Diego, but yeah, then they took her on, and what is it, 6 years later, we're both still working there.
So now you've been now at UCSD for 6 years.
It's my 6th faculty year and 3
I've been
fellowship.
4.
Yeah. So
Amalia, you're an anesthesiologist, and by the way, for listeners, this is Amalia's first podcast appearance. I am honored, privileged, and humbled that you chose Healthcare Unfiltered to have your breakout podcast appearance. So thank you.
I told her she could put it on her CV.
Might be the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing else there, so we're just filling in holes.
I think she felt bad because she has one of my t-shirts. So she's like, okay, fine, I'll do it.
I have like 6 t-shirts. I love
Oh,
them.
I need to get more. Aaron, I'm going to send him more. But you know, you're an anesthesiologist, and he's obviously busy oncologist, or at least he pretends to be busy. We still don't know, honestly. And you have three beautiful daughters. I had a chance to actually meet them at the last ASH meeting. They're adorable. How do you balance, like, because I mean, your schedules must be very busy. So do you have to, how difficult it is to coordinate? Do you need to have a nanny or parents? I mean, how are you able to handle all this? Amalia, I want to hear from you, because Aaron is not going to tell me the truth.
Yeah. So, we're sort of always just barely holding it together is the first answer. We're sort of always just barely making it fit. I dropped to 75%, which my department allows me to do, which was awesome. So that helps some. I work a lot of nights instead of days. So I tend to be gone while they're sleeping. And now that our youngest is 3 now, so she doesn't need me during the night. And then we bought a house that has I'm going to call it a guest house, but it's a very small nanny flat.
It's nice.
It's nice.
It's nice.
And so we always have somebody living with us who does take care of our kids sometimes during the day, gets them off to school or whatever, when we don't have anybody else at home. My parents moved here 6 months ago.
That was clutch. My in-laws moving here was a game. First of all, I have the best. I hope they listen. They are, the best.
They should listen.
In-laws.
That part is huge.
They should
It's
listen.
huge.
So they live with you, or they live close enough, or?
They live 1.8 miles up the hill.
That's great.
So they don't live close enough for the kids to walk, but we walked home from there today.
We did.
So they live close enough to be there immediately. The only thing is they're also kind of just retired, and so they're always traveling and stuff like that. And we're like, but who's going to take care of all your grandkids? So they're there right now, for example. They're at my mom's house.
But for the physician couples who may be listening, it really requires a lot of work, like you said. And you said we're barely holding it. I'm not surprised. It just could get really busy and obligations and other elements, from teaching to being on service, sometimes to give talks, you have to travel, do all of that stuff. So everything adds up in an academic life that requires a lot of coordination between both of you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, so the other thing is I don't do a lot of research. I don't do a lot of traveling. I don't go, like our conferences this weekend, I'm not there. We've had moments where I've carried the team and moments where he's carried the team. And right now he's working to carry the team and I take care of them,
So when
because I give all credit to keeping together her. I couldn't, our life is complicated, and like I can barely, with the types of patients I have and the clinical work I do, I can barely keep it together at work. And like we have 3 kids in school, and we get, sorry, no swears, we get like 100 freaking emails a day from the kids' school. Literally,
you
they cause me anxiety.
You can swear. You can swear. Don't worry.
I'm trying not to.
It's unfiltered.
It's unfiltered. But we get like 300 freaking emails a day about our kids and from their various teachers. And like, I can't. And their homework and schedule, I just can't. I have a brain, and you do it. If she didn't do it, I would have to. And that's bad that I make her do it. I could do it. So I give all credit. I can't even keep up with my own emails. So it really is. And we're fortunate. Everyone goes to medicine. It's hard. We are. I think most doctors are. We make reasonable money and we have support. Yeah. But I don't know how you can't do it without sacrifice. She's had to sacrifice stuff. That's honest. She's had to sacrifice things that it wouldn't. No, you can't make it work. I think it's impossible. You can't have 2 that are traveling all over the place doing heavy duty. You can't. And she has made sacrifices, and I feel bad. And I'm trying my best to be better about things. But you've made sacrifices, to be honest.
Yeah, as long as you keep buying her jewelry, Aaron, things hopefully will.
Actually, I'm actually not a jewelry person.
Oh, whatever she wants.
We just had our 10th year anniversary.
10 years.
And Aaron's like, you should get a piece of jewelry. I looked up this jewelry store. Let's go. We walk in, and I'm like,
we were in there for 2 minutes.
I feel nothing. So we left. I got to watch.
Okay. Well, the idea is you get her what she wants. That's the idea, Aaron. Okay. So, Amalia, give me, when did you learn that your beloved husband has made the crucial decision of joining the Twitter social media and decided to create an account and enter the Twitterverse? When did you learn about this?
I don't remember, but I don't remember exactly when, but I remember that he was excited about the platform. He liked this idea of, it's not Facebook. It's not here's my cute kid, left and right. It's different. And he learned a lot. He got on and he followed people that he learned a lot from. And he was like, oh, I'm going to try my hand at this. and people liked it. I mean, they really did. And so he
For the most part.
yeah. Oh yeah. You know, Twitter for me is like a real up and a real down, right? It does take a lot of time to kind of develop tweets that are thoughtful and interesting, and it takes time. We've met a lot of cool people. We've probably
Like you.
also, yeah,
We're friends with you.
exactly.
I mean, you met our
And
3 kids.
there's some other people like Manny. I mean, he's just like this cool, gentle soul that we actually don't know. And
Well, we know, we just
we
haven't
know
met, yeah.
him, but we just haven't spent time. And we're like, oh, we should go to his house.
So when
That's-
did you, because obviously Aaron got into, I got to know that you're his wife because I followed Aaron, and then I realized, oh my God, these two are married. So when did you decide to have a Twitter account?
Oh yeah. So I thought he was having a midlife crisis. He was
Well,
like
he
on
is,
Twitter
he
all the
is.
time. I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna buy $1 million guitar. So I mean, he's just gonna do something wacky. He's just doing all whatever. He's different. He's got this other thing. And I was like, I'm just gonna follow him to monitor his midlife.
You're just gonna keep a close eye on him.
And that's still what I do. I just troll his account and monitor his midlife crisis. And I actually learn a lot too. I actually really do learn a lot on Twitter. You know, you have to take it for what it is, but I do learn a lot.
So when did you become Papa Heme? Because if you're Papa Heme, I'm gonna call Amalia as Mama Heme.
No. So she'll tell you her side of the story. But yeah, but Papa Heme I know one. I was in Arizona with my brother and my dad. And at that point I had like, not a lot of followers, but a reason why, but yeah, you got people that actually follow you on Twitter. And my brother, who's a nice creative soul, who I love very much, was like, you need a name. I'm like, I'm not going to get a name. He goes, you need a name. And I go, so then I was like, Papa Heme. And so he liked it. I liked it. So I put it in the feed. And then I come back to work the next week. It was a vacation. And the nurses are all giggling. And I'm like, what? They go, how you doing, Papa Heme? They're all making fun of me. And so I went into the office. I was embarrassed. And I took out the Twitter account. I was like, you know what? I should delete this. And I had 2 thoughts. I was going to delete it and go back. Or I was like, just fucking own it and be Papa Heme and don't care what other people think. And I chose the latter, and that's how that's gone. So that's the story of Papa Heme.
So
yeah, and I've not adopted that nomenclature.
Yeah.
I don't call
Why?
him Papa Heme. When people talk to me about Papa, I'm like, you mean like my dad or what?
why can't we call you Mama Heme?
Well, that's not like a big part of my identity, to be honest with you.
No part.
He
No,
was always
this
like,
is
'cause there are some really great anesthesiologists on Twitter as well. And they have cool anesthesia names. Like there's anesthesiologist. I think her name is Anna. That's kind of cool.
That's cool.
You know, there's some people who have really great.
We can call her Mama Anesthesia.
Well, so the thing is that being an anesthesiologist is a much smaller piece of my pie than being a hematologist is of Aaron's pie. Like it's not how I identify myself. It's not and it's not that I don't love my job. I actually do love my job, but it's not, if you asked me for 10 things that describe me, that would be low on my list.
So there are times where, for example, Papa, Aaron, tweets something, and then you kind of respond to him on Twitter or on social media, and sometimes you're being snippy at each other on social media in front of everybody. Does he pick up the phone and call it like, hey, what is this? Or you text him like, stop, how does it actually work? Because sometimes I feel like he says something and you write them like, what are you doing here?
No, we're usually not in the same building when we make fun of each other. It's a good fun.
Either I'm rounding or she's at work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I see it because I get notifications. She's on the list. You're special. Yeah. Of when, I can't have everyone, but so she pops up. I'm like, oh, my wife's looking at a tweet. And like most of the time it's something like that, and then I laugh and then either I'll call her or I'll mute it. Use the mute button on her a few times.
Oh, my, no, you did not.
Every now and then, though, I do catch something that I'm like, you might not have known this, but this isn't a good idea.
She's saved my ass a few times. Where she's like, you might want to.
And it's like, whoop.
And I've deleted tweets.
Amalia, give me a few examples of something you saw that he posted. Yeah, we gotta get an example. I mean, people usually relate with examples. You gotta.
I remember.
Yeah, you gotta do an example.
Not to get into the controversies of the colonoscopy debate.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a big randomized study, and I support colonoscopy, but like it made me think a little bit about the absolute benefit of it. And because like I'm quirky, as you know, I do these polls or questions, and I did a guess that, you know, I wrote a story of a person getting a colonoscopy, and I showed a picture of diffuse adenomas throughout the colon. It was a patient with FAP, familial adenomatosis, or whatever it is, polyposis.
Right.
Yeah. And so it was to play on the pun of colonoscopy screening. And there was this other character on Twitter, physician who was a gastroenterologist, who let's just say our views on society are a little different, you know, more of the, you know, I support social advocacy and all those things. That's just not my role on Twitter, and I go do it. Bless your heart. So he's more of that, and I'm not. And he quote tweeted me. He interacted with me for the first time. I've seen his stuff because, you know, he maybe doesn't like some people that I like, you know. And he quote tweets it, and I was like, oh, this guy's quote tweeting me and it was, you're wrong. This guy wouldn't have gotten a screening colonoscopy at age 45. They all develop cancer by the age of 20. And for the record, I'm not wrong. You can have people, I looked it up, you can have people develop colon cancer with that disease by the age of 50. And those patients do undergo screening for FAP just at an earlier age. But so my first, I responded like something, not that it was mean, but it was a little snarky. And my wife's like, she saw it. She's like, Aaron, just delete it and don't get involved. And she was right. I quickly deleted it and ignored it. And ignoring is usually the strongest thing, but it's hard sometimes. So that is a recent example.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that dramatic. But
I
do
was
remember
pissed off.
being,
It
like,
fired me
reading
up.
it and being like, I don't know why he's so offended by this. So maybe we just don't.
Okay, so
Anyway,
that's the story. And I've done other where
you know, there's just stuff.
there's stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he does, you know, I mean, Aaron sometimes does like get one topic and he just goes after it about 100 miles an hour and he won't let go. I mean, you know,
I know.
think, you know, I mean, so how, I mean, do you, like, you know, I mean, him and selinexor, I mean, he just won't let go. I mean, do you tell him like enough already?
It's a horrible drug that should never have been approved. More options are not better for our
Well, I think
patients.
we already,
drug.
we already
And
know,
all the trials are supporting it. Yep. I don't delete that. Get rid of the hate. I delete that last comment.
we know
Please,
your
man.
opinion. I don't know what you said, but we know your opinion about it. I mean, how many times do you want to keep saying the same thing?
Yeah, so, you know, I haven't read studies about selinexor. So I'm not an expert in that area. I can say, like, I can almost always back up the way that he thinks scientifically because he reads all the time. If you gave him the day off tomorrow, you don't have a day off tomorrow, do you?
No.
He would sit out by our pool and read about hematology. When we were in medical school, he'd sit by the pool and read Robbins Pathology.
Great book.
He loves to read about medicine. And so he's usually right. He's not always tactful in the way that he responds to people, but or maybe I'll say he's often right because maybe I don't know enough to say he's usually right. But the man does his reading. That's fair to say.
I read the study. Yeah.
And once I was kind of making fun of him to my dad, I was like, he just remembers everything and it's so annoying. And I go, you know, and my dad's like, Amalia, it's not that he remembers, it's that he's sitting there reading a book and you're not. Like,
Right.
That's the difference. He's reading and you're not. So anyway, I'll read your book then.
No, but I think in all fairness, you do read it quite a bit. And I think you definitely, I mean, in hematology, you have a lot of things, but how do you, when you do all of these pictures and all of this, how much time does this take from you, Aaron? Because I mean, it seems like you're on Twitter about 90% of the day, honestly. My Twitter feed is always Aaron Goodman. Which is great.
The algorithm funnels me to you as it should. That's why I'm always on your feed. Okay.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, it's like your tweets are pretty, frankly, sophisticated. I mean, you've got pictures and arrows and all this. I mean, how much time does this take?
Well, I can tell you the time. So the pictures, I'm not designing these pictures. I hate to break it to everyone. I Google everything. I've said it. I Google everything. You know, if I have basically, you know, I'll have a thought that crosses my head and sometimes I sit and think, but other times just like, oh, I saw this in clinic or I saw it, I was dealing on the words and I'm like, that's interesting. I thought it was interesting. I should make a question to teach someone. So I formulate the question and then it takes me all of 2 seconds to Google the image, you know, associated with it. And then I copy the image and put it in. But yeah, it does take time. And some days are more heavy than others. It's really dependent on how busy I am. When I'm on service, I tweet less.
The
And
other thing is he started studying for the internal medicine once again because he has to research or whatever.
I have to research for
And
IM. The IM's crooked and bad. I hope they're listening. But I am recertifying, not because I think the test will test my knowledge. I'm actually enjoying learning internal medicine.
Yeah, but so while he's reading for that, so I've noticed, if you've noticed too, sometimes it falls a little bit less oncology, a little bit more medicine. And that's because he's studying for internal medicine at that time. And so he's like, whatever page he read that day, something popped into his head and he writes a tweet about it.
Yeah, I go, this is interesting. I didn't remember this. Probably other people will.
Sometimes I have a clinical question that I'm like, hey, what do I do about this? And he's like, oh, we should tweet about that. He's actually just learning it while he's tweeting.
And then how did tell me, Amalia, when did his love, I want to hear from Amalia, when did his love to music and guitar start?
It preceded me. I think he was in 3rd grade when he started playing the guitar, maybe a little bit earlier.
I played piano kindergarten, but guitar was 3rd grade.
But this is one habit that I will feed into. The Twitter thing can be annoying sometimes, but the music is wonderful. It just fills our house with, and I've said it to him before too, I never mind spending money on instruments, on lessons, on those kinds of things, because he picks up the guitar every single day. Piano less, but it's still there, and we still hear from him sometimes. And
you're good. You're good.
It's wonderful.
I'll
never complain about that hobby.
No. Whenever you post something, you're really, really, really good. How do you keep up with it? Do you take some lessons every so often?
No, I don't take. I practice, and now that I'm in a band playing again, I'm practicing more because it's fun. But I practice, and I do scales, and I learn music theory, and I think with music, some people may have slightly more natural ability than others, but really, it's practice. And I was never super into sports. I wasn't so great at it. But I was reasonable guitar and I enjoyed doing it. So it was just something I did. So no, I haven't taken lessons in many years since I was a young kid. Now most of the learning I do is just from, you can always go online and Google something, a teacher, or I still order, you see me, I order music theory and scale books off Amazon, and that's how. And then being in the band right now, we play again this Saturday. That's really a big Saturday. We're actually, for the first time, we are a cover band, but we are introducing 3 original songs. Okay, one that I wrote and one that the other 2 people wrote, and this will be the first original material that we'll be introducing. So that kind of stuff.
Did you ever write a song for Amalia?
That's the song I'm playing. Yes. She doesn't know yet. For her
wedding.
I'm
not going on Saturday.
Well, the other ladies will hear it. She's like, oh, so sweet. So I'm going to say, I wrote this for my wife. And I did. I wrote it for our wedding. I composed a song on piano, but I'm going to play it on guitar for this thing. And so, yes. And she carries the words with her in her purse, I believe, right?
Are you able to tell us maybe one verse, like just
yeah, the chorus is, it's so corny, but it's original. It wasn't done. The chorus.
Go get the guitar.
No, I'm not singing it right now. It doesn't go through well on this. You'll hear it. I'll make someone record it. The chorus is, I used to think love was just a word. It's catchy.
Yeah,
it's a little embarrassing. Yeah.
Oh, but okay, come on, just another one. Just keep that's one sentence. Another one.
That's the chorus, and then there's the middle, the for those who know music structure, there's usually a verse, chorus. Then you can't just keep on doing verse, chorus, verse. You got to put in a B section. So for the B section, I changed the keys, which is something that your ear might not. You'd be like, oh yeah, that's nice. So I changed the keys, and the words are the night in white, which goes back to the night in white when I freaking met her. And now this is full circle. This is perfect. I saw your face. It lit the room from across the place, and from that time, I knew that you would be mine. That's the which is pretty sweet. That's a little lyric.
Yeah. This is really. This is a side of Papa that we don't normally always see on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't write songs for every girl. I sat down and usually she knows I've written lots of songs. A lot of them are not good, but I do write. But I'm more of a music guy than word guy. Like when I listen to music, and she's the opposite. Like
yeah, we're totally opposite. I can remember the words to any song. He doesn't know any of the words.
I listen and I hear the intervals and I hear the music, and that's what I'm listening to, and I can go play it after listening to it. And I've written a lot of songs, and like I write melodies, like the notes that you would sing, but I don't give an F about the words for the most part. But for that song, it was hard because I knew it needed to have good words. So I sat for that. Took hours for me to write words that would work with the song. So yeah,
we do see though on social media that he's an amazing dad. He does every so often. He does post about like, I think your latest post is actually pretty funny. I did enjoy it when you were reading to your daughter in a book that looked like you're reading somewhat clotting and about this. I mean, come on, man.
Last night she has this book. She goes, you're reading Juliet. So I usually like reading. I'm going to be honest right now. My 8-year-old's doing Harry Potter, and I enjoy reading the Harry Potter book. It's entertaining to me and her. The 3-year-old, those books aren't as mentally stimulating for me. And so I was getting ready to go with Layla, our oldest, to read Harry Potter. I was all pumped up, and she goes, "No, you're doing Juliet tonight." But she goes, "You're gonna like this book," and I was like, "Fuck this!" And I sit down with, "No, this is exactly what happened."
She's really into this book.
I sit down to this book, and I'm like having an orgasm. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is about clotting and scabs." They fucking mentioned fibrin in it, and I'm like my face lit up, and that's why I shared it. But that's how last night went. And to go back that I'm a good dad, yes, but like in like good parents, like she's 10,000 times better of a mom than I am. I mean, she is. There's no comparison in
it's
terms
not
of
that.
It's not.
Yeah, I spend more time.
She does, and I would hate for like it's like completely obvious to anyone who knows us like that. Like she is by far and away the champion in that. Okay.
He does fly, and Aaron Goodman. I mean, he does criticize a lot of speaking engagement and so on, but he does his share. I mean, he does go and fly and give talks and grand rounds.
Yeah, he's switched to a lot of more like grand rounds and educational talks and stuff like that. He's not doing.
Well, I'm very transparent with this. There was one company I still have a conflict with. I actually haven't done stuff with it. I've changed like everything. Oh, when I started out, and the drug company goes, "Hey, come here." They send out their people like, "We'll give you 5G to like read these slides we made for you." Man, I signed up for them. I am second. I was like, this is easy money. They want to. I like talking. I like speaking. I don't have to make the slides. But I have cut back. I'm down to one company. And as far as the directly promotional, I don't do any more consulting. I've stopped that over the last few years. And the talks I do are education. There's CME or these other educational talks. Now I recognize that the money's probably still coming from pharma. I recognize that. And at the start of any podcast, anyone who's come, including the one I did last week, I'd be like, "This is what Seattle Jacks wants to hear." They're sitting in the back. I'm going to tell you what I think. And if I piss off enough people, they probably won't invite me back, which there have been ones they don't invite me back. But for the most part, but yeah, I do that. So but don't make me a hypocrite yet.
I would listen to you, but you're going to visit our friend Christopher Booth in Canada, and you're going to give grand rounds. What's your grand round about?
Grand rounds. It's on a smoldering myeloma. The myeloma community never invites me to give this talk. I'm so sad.
Well, Aaron, what's your beef with the myeloma community? What is wrong with you?
Well, they of any other cancer, and we are systematically studying this. Oh, wait till you see our new paper with Manny. I can't give you. It is so epic when you see this. And I'm doing research comparing to even other cancers. Yeah, I do some research. No other, and I recognize this as a fellow. No other disease state runs trials like they do. I'm not saying they haven't improved care for myeloma. Of course they have. They definitely, and I don't want to come across, but like the majority, they have more randomized studies or phase 2 studies or whatever than just about any disease that I'm aware of in heme malignancies. And most of them don't answer any freaking question that helps me other than fund and get money into pharmaceuticals. I stand strongly on that. And, it is what it is. And I would never want to be a part of it. And even though they do good, I couldn't do the bad that goes along with running trials in that space.
I think you sometimes come across very, Amalia, what do you think? Sometimes he's a little bit too harsh on the specifically the myeloma. Let me ask her opinion.
Well, that's hard because I don't know the specifics of myeloma. he does take a hard stand on a lot of things where I see nuance sometimes, but I think that usually,
Well, what do I take a hard stance? You give me an example. What do I take a hard stance on that there's nuance? I think I stayed pretty clear to tell me what I'm putting you on the spot.
well, for example, every now and then something happens at our school, which we love. And Aaron will be like, that's it. The kids are moving schools. We can't have this anymore. Blah, 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 blah. And you're like, well, there's another option. We could just go talk to them about this one thing or whatever. I mean, there's other things that I can think of, but like.
But I think that's fair. That's fair. What you're saying is sometimes there are nuances that are not always like black and white.
What's the nuance? And I get passionate about this because I feel so strongly about it. And it's like amazes me. Like people like, I won't mention these, like I come across as angry because I'm so frustrated that like, how is a study where like you're giving one more drug that is active and we know is active and asking the question, is the response rate or PFS like, why? I don't care if regulations needed. What like that is maddening to me. I don't get it. And I will continue to never get it. We don't need those studies. We're wasting patients' time and doing it solely for the advancement of the pharmaceutical. And like, that's the way, screw it. That's not the way we're going to change it. And we need to change it. And we need people like me and other younger individuals, not these seasoned old timers, assuming that the way forward is good. Not that they're not helping patients, but that we don't need to do those studies. And it angers me because the studies are so stupid. Those are stupid studies.
So you said COVID. In COVID.
No, we're not talking COVID.
No,
no.
If you want, I'll go. I'm not on the plunder session. I'm not going COVID. Okay?
I'm talking about your hair at COVID because she said,
COVID hair.
Amalia said that your hair was basically was born because of COVID. Now
I want to give the fans.
Hold on. Let me make a picture. Hold on.
There might be
Look
something.
at this.
Let me take a picture. Hold on. Don't. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Love it.
Amalia loves playing with that lock right there.
But with I mean, it's as his hair was getting longer, Amalia. I mean, did you at some point say, well, you gotta, go to the barber or do something, and then eventually you said like, yeah, I like this.
No, my mom cut his hair a couple times during COVID. Like she would cut everybody's hair.
The last one was 2 years ago for me. Yeah.
And it just sort of, I don't know, it started growing. And once it gets past this real awkward like phase, it's kind of nice again. And I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it does fit his guitar and musical career for sure.
I remember when I was some talk where I guess she's like, don't you think now is the time to cut it? And like, I was like, no, and I didn't. And now lately, every time I ask her, because I go very well, I asked, I go, Amalia, be 100% honest with me. Do I need to cut my hair? And now it's usually like, I like it. Is that not the case?
Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it does fit you being a rock and roll star.
I am.
Yeah.
And then college is a little bit different. Like, I'm trying to, so do you, when you go to the hospital, are you wearing scrubs? Are you wearing like casual? What do you dress?
So this is a funny thing. Most of us can't get away with breaking rules at a hospital. Most of us have to like walk the line. And Aaron has never walked the line. We did a rotation. We did when we were trying to decide whether to couples match, we're like, let's do ID together so we can like get to know each other a little bit before we make this huge decision. And so we did a rotation together, and he was like correcting the attending and like accusing him of giving all the patients diarrhea. I mean, it was just off the rails. And you know what? That guy loved him. That attending loved him. And even at UCSD, people have said like, time to cut the hair, man, time to cut the hair. His patients don't care.
No, so
They
like,
don't.
let's just say before it was like okay to wear scrubs, like when COVID happened, like scrubs became okay again. I had set that trend prior to that. I mean, I wear
my pants.
I wear scrub bottoms, and I've rounded in a Nirvana t-shirt. I've rounded in a tank top AC/DC. Yeah, with a coat over it. And, and I was just like, I'm gonna do this. And if a leader pulled me aside and maybe sit in their office, be like, Aaron, this is not appropriate, I would
Or I think if a patient said, I don't like your look is not one that gives me trust.
Well, I have had patients buy me ties before as a hint. Most just get me.
I didn't realize
Most
that.
just get me whiskey,
Yeah,
but
most buy whiskey.
they do. We do get a lot of whiskey from the
So,
patients.
so,
Thank you.
so sometimes, Amalia, sometimes here's what Aaron does. Some of his tweets, which I like, by the way. Well, some of them I want to like, but I just don't because I gotta be politically correct
Gotta
more
keep the
than,
image. Yeah.
more than Papa.
Can't be associated with me.
But some of his tweets, sometimes he's criticizing his own department. Like he would say, well, I just went to a retreat and I'm just gonna like put myself on mute and go off camera and go running. Like, I mean, if people like were in the retreat, I mean, don't you like pick up the phone like, hey, delete this?
Yes, that's a good example. I didn't think of that before, but that's a good example.
I do.
I do. So first of all, we all actually do have problems in our work.
Right.
We all have things that could be better. We all have things that could be worse. I always kind of joke that I've liked all my jobs, but I complain about them too, because there's things that all departments have problems, right? And COVID made everything a little harder and a little worse. And that's just a fact. It was a struggle to work at a hospital during COVID. And I think that some of those struggles have to be remedied in different ways. And one of Aaron's ways of handling life is to exercise. It's like really important to him. And so he will frequently like listen to the meeting while he's walking or while he's running. And it's just, he's kind of a jittery guy. He's pacing if he's not. And so
You told me not to do that many times. I think it's fine.
I have said on a number of occasions, if they want you to be there in person, it might be because you
I
got something.
don't want to get COVID. I don't want.
Oh, come on now, Mister. I don't want to get COVID.
I also have to kind of stand by him in a way in that, his patients really like him. He does a lot of really good work. Every now and then he publishes something. He loves to teach. Oh my gosh. Like when he has a medical student or a fellow, he comes back and he's like, rounds was so great today. You'll never believe this, And
by far, his tweets are extremely educational. I have a lot of them bookmarked. I give you that. I mean, I think on Twitter currently, I can't really think honestly of anyone who does more teaching than you. So kudos.
Yeah, but my point about all of that is just to say that, in his career as a physician, he's come to here by just being who he is and not apologizing for it. And I've spent plenty of time sort of apologizing for this or apologizing for that. My kid's sick. I can't be, and he just calls in and says, I'm going to be late, right? I call and I'm like, everything's going to hell. The kids are, and I'm trying to make excuses for it and all that stuff. And he's just honest and himself, and that's it. And he's actually made it a lot farther than I have, I would say. So, I don't know. I can't really criticize that.
I would say
point.
You're definitely authentic.
Yeah.
You're definitely
thank you. This took me a few years into attending, but what I realized was what's important at work. Make sure I take good care of my patients and I'm timely with it when it comes to notes, answering labs, being available for my nurse coordinator or the nurse who works with me to not like when she texts me, like some doctors doing, like respond to like she needs help the trainees when they help teach that, and that's what's important. And I've made it my point. I go, I can never let that decline. But the other stuff's all BS. No, I'm being serious. If I take care of good patients, my patients like me. Oh, no, and my colleagues, I want them to like me and get along. Those are the important things. And I go, excel at those. The rest is all BS. And that's what I do. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to go run if I have to see a patient or, but yeah, if I'm on call, we hammer out rounds in a few hours, I'm going to go run at the beach. Yeah, I'm proud of it. And I'll still answer all the calls and all that. But as long as those things, does that make sense? I fulfill what is important. And the other stuff is not. And you're right.
Yeah, I mean, the other stuff, like what color pants he's wearing or what, that just doesn't.
Some stupid whatever like that later, some staging thing all that stuff that we do in academics or something that really actually doesn't matter for the most part. And it doesn't, because I haven't really been doing it now for the last 3.5 years and things have only gotten better doing it that way.
What's the deal with the keto diet? Are you both on keto right now?
I'm drinking beer.
Okay.
No. So am I not allowed to say that?
You can drink a beer, yeah.
Yeah. So we went on a cruise, and
we let it go on the
We
cruise.
let it go. We actually did go to the gym. I can tell you what it looks like. That's a fact. We did go, but we ate a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. We're gonna get canceled because we went on a cruise. Apparently, cruise is like there's a lot of people. Who say
No, you won't get. Oh yeah, somebody will cancel.
Oh yeah, I'm just warning you. I'm comfortable. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
love cruises.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were like, this is how. There was one member of our party who hasn't gotten COVID. We were like, this is how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
I think she's well, but
COVID. Yeah.
but
That's
I would have been not happy about going on a cruise with an unvaccinated child, except for she just had COVID.
yeah. So
And,
well, stay away from
but
COVID.
anyway, yeah, we don't want to talk about COVID.
But I love cruises, and we eat all the time, and we drink.
But I mean, on the cruise you let it go. But in general, are you both following the keto diet now?
For 1 week, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Aaron keeps texting me that he has like 6-pack and 8-pack, and he's so proud. I'm like, bullshit. I don't believe you got nothing.
I mean,
I'm going to tell you, the first time he did keto, he lost about 30 pounds in about 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And he did really, really well. And I was like, man, that's too hard. Because I like pick up the kids' food when they're done, and I'm eating, and the kids eat carbs all day.
Yep.
And I was like, I just can't do that. But then I did it this week, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, actually. The main problem for me is I'd rather not eat meat because I'm kind of an environment person. So it's hard to be keto and also vegetarian. So that's like the hardest part for me. But so I just eat meat when I'm on keto.
let me just say, can I tell you, we talk keto, I got to talk. I like to eat. I like to eat good food. I like to eat a lot of food. I like having a beer every now and then. And what I've realized is I do that all the time, but every so often it catches up with me a little bit. And what I do, and this is how whether it's healthy for me, I don't know. I don't, and I don't claim it to be healthy for me. I just want to stay at a certain weight, and it catches up with me every now and then. And I do some keto, and it resets it, and then I go back. Is that not the case?
True.
It's that, and so I'm on keto this week, and I'm probably gonna do it for a few more weeks if I can make it, and then I'm not drinking any alcohol, and then I'm gonna go back to the burrito and tacos and all those great things I like.
I mean, everybody and their mother, they know that you love tacos at this point.
Yeah. So right now I'm not eating the tortilla, and I'd rather do that.
But we went camping. We just didn't eat the tortillas.
The keto diet, it works.
So Amalia, you just mentioned you were camping. Interesting. Tell me about the camping trip, because I hear it's like this is like something that Aaron loves, and he literally enjoys camping so much that he can't wait to go back.
Right. I went camping with my 3 children and this toddler, and he was terrible.
But you got to tell the start about the tent and the camper. I mean,
You had a tent? You actually had a tent?
Last year I took the kids, stayed in a tent for the first time. We're fine. Aaron comes up and it's like horrible. And
it was 30 degrees.
He says,
in a tent on rocks.
Staying in a tent.
I said, never again.
I'm never staying in a tent. So I rented an RV, like not a Sprinter van.
It was nice.
Which was really nice.
It was enough to convince me to go camping.
Yeah, so he came. And it was awful. It was so much fun for me. The kids had a great time. We went with all the 3rd graders at our kids' school. So there were like a million kids, and they're all running in and out, which is like exactly.
I was worse than our 3-year-old. I was a baby.
Yeah. Like so much worse than our 3-year-old.
I hated it.
What did he do? Like, what did he do? Was he pouting a lot?
Yes.
He was just, we picked up a bunch of kids at the school so they could drive up in our van together. So we had 6 girls in the back of the van, and we got up, and Aaron's like, I'm just not cut out for this. I just can't.
They're running around. I'm organized. They're making a mess of everything. Screaming and like, I don't know. And then we get there. It's like, what do you do? You're like outside.
Kind of dark. He thought we were going to lose a kid. I mean, it was just,
you can't even like, at least I could pee in the bush. Like there's no bathroom,
We had to leave early, and people were like, what's going on? And I was like, either we stay here tonight or I stay married, but it's not going to be both because Aaron is done. So we have to go home.
I told him, and I wasn't hiding. I go, I'm done. We're leaving, not because my kids. It's me. I don't like this one.
Well, and it also was like raining and
sucked
and windy.
Never doing it again.
But I mean,
anyway, I can take the kids camping by myself. I actually like to camp. So
it is not clear to me whether were you able to get a shower, Aaron? Because did you shower?
He has not showered, but he doesn't complain about that. He didn't care.
Well, you would complain about that, Amalia.
It's
you would
Sunday, and I showered Friday, and Do I smell bad?
No, but most adults shower every day.
I understand that, and I'm going to before
He's a
work.
toddler. He's a toddler.
Right.
You just said he's a toddler, so I mean he's okay. But plus, I mean, he was, you know, I mean he was on a camping trip, so he doesn't need to shower after camping at all.
I smell like the smoke of the spider. It's got a nice. I think it smells good.
So what are let's do this. This is a fun game, and then I'll let you go because I can honestly talk to you for forever. But are you going to come to Ash, Amalia?
I'm not this year.
It's in New Orleans.
I know, and I love New Orleans, by the way. But I didn't take it off in time, and now I have so much work that it will be hard for me to schedule. And then I have to bring all of our kids, and it was pretty expensive. The flight was expensive.
It was.
The hotel was pretty expensive too.
Well,
So
I will keep
I
a close eye. I'll keep a close eye on him for you. I mean, he does need few people.
He wanders off. He's like an outdoor cat.
Oh, he does. He does. Like literally, he needs a handler. But Aaron, I'll start with you. Giving me a couple of things that people probably would not know about you just simply from following on social media. I think we know you love tacos, burritos, you drink beer, you do guitar, you love hematology. So we think we know a lot about you. Maybe a couple of things we don't know you'd like to share with us?
What I used to not be comfortable with, now I am more comfortable. I'm actually, you can ask my wife, I'm not an extrovert, I'm more of an introvert. I was very shy growing up, and I was. And I'm still am more. I'm not shy anymore. I've lost that. Okay, and I'm just not shy. But I was horribly shy around girls and whatever. But I still am an introvert actually. I mean, for the most part, like I'm fine. You know, I want to be with my family, but like whenever it's like we're going out with our friends to get dinner. I mean, what is my response usually like?
Can we go to a taco place?
Like, can we just watch a movie at home and order some gyros? Like that's how I am. And my wife's not. She's more of an extrovert. But I think that might be something people might not know.
It is. I'm surprised. I think probably all of us would be very surprised to learn that you classify yourself as an introvert.
I'm not just. I mean, am I an introvert?
He is an introvert.
100%.
And this is a thing that I'm always in awe of the oncologists I know, because it takes like a lot of your sort of emotional well-being to get through the day. And then you come home to a whole bunch of people who also need you and want you. And it is true that it is hard for introverts to all day sort of give, and just be there present for every patient, and then come home to a household.
Wait, are you saying I'm not good enough when I come home with that?
No, I'm saying it sucks a lot of your sort of emotional self out to be at work. It does. And so then I'm like, let's go out to dinner. And that's another piece of sort of emotional self.
Yeah, I'd rather just be, I mean, yeah, which
Amalia,
we had a conscious effort though to be better. We are now more often like we hadn't gone on dates for a few years. Now we like drop the kids off the parents. We walked. We live in a nice area. Big enough now. Yeah, we're getting better about it though. Yeah, at least I'm trying.
So you have a date night once a week, once every 2 weeks?
No, we don't have a schedule or anything.
A month.
We usually
we live in Paradise, and we walk to we live right by the beach and all these bars, and we'll go to one of them and eat dinner together and have a few drinks. Yeah,
that's a date night.
For a while, we didn't do that for a long time.
Yeah.
Amalia, although you're not as prolific on Twitter as he is, but I promise you there are a lot of people, I mean, that love your comments. I mean, I'll be the first to say, and it's just, you're very witty. I would love to see you honestly tweeting more and being on social media more. But what are maybe few things that people don't know about you that from following on social media that you can share with us?
Well, I don't think people know about me at all from social media. I really am there just to kind of troll my husband.
So tell us about you. We want to know about you. Okay. Honestly, I would love to. Everybody would love to know more about you than him. Who cares about him?
Right. I'm very interesting. I don't know. He was not a sporty kid. I was a very sporty kid. I loved all the sports. And so because of that, I've got my kids doing I'm like reliving it through them. They don't like any of the sports that I liked, but that's okay. I'm in for it. And so I think that, if I could do my days a little bit differently, I would play more team sports and just, run a lot. We really like to run. I'm trying to get us on a team to do the Hood to Coast run, if you've heard of that.
I don't know.
So now that I've been camping with my husband,
You like start in Oregon and like run down the coast.
you start at the top of Mount Hood and you run to the coast
It wouldn't go
with
well for
with
me.
a relay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to read. I like to spend time with my kids. I'm like a very normal, run-of-the-mill human.
You're gonna kill me. You might have to delete this.
Nope. I know what you're gonna say. Don't do it.
Wait.
Nope.
What am I gonna
Nope.
say?
I know what you're gonna say.
Can I
Don't
say
do
it?
No.
Oh, come on. Should I do
Why?
it?
Why
Deal with the
can't
wrath of her tonight? Okay. See, just like it worked. I recognize where like I want to say it, but like I do have a line, and I got the line.
It's funny because he's trying to brag about something, but it's like no part
No,
of
I
who
just
I
think
am.
it isn't, but it's just something no one would know about you.
I don't-
I didn't say it was part. Okay, I won't talk about it.
Now you got us all curious, by the way. You got like everybody who's listening is like, what was he going to say? Well,
Talk about
we're going to keep it mysterious here. So anything I should have asked you that I had like zero preparation for this. This like flows like, believe it or not, we've been talking for an hour. I mean, and you need to take your wife out, right? You're going to dinner after you
No,
shower.
we're gonna walk at the beach right now.
Oh, okay. We're gonna walk at the beach.
Yeah,
And
we're
then
gonna go
get
walk to the
breakfast.
beach, get a few more miles in, and then make my keto dinner. Which is
No,
cabbage.
it's funny. You're saying, is there anything I should have asked you? And I'm like, I'm not even sure why you for sure want to talk to us, but I'm game for it. Anytime we have a chance to chat.
Well,
with people
here,
about it.
I mean, the reality is, I think for those of us who follow both of you, you're both very, I would say, authentic. You're charming, and you appear to be so much fun as a couple. And I think a lot of people, not just me, would be very curious about who are these two people in real life behind the Twitter curtain. Because I've always believed that Twitter does not always tell you who the real person is. Until you really meet them in real life and just talk to them and have maybe a meal with them and just chat a little bit, you get to know the real person. Everybody can hide behind the 280 characters. But the authenticity and the real people usually show when you talk to them and spend some time. And I wanted everybody to know who the real Papa Heme is and who the real better half of Papa Heme is. Because we all know she's the better half.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's my parents are much better than me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But I think we are fun. You're right. We are fun. We are also, it's challenging. All the things that we do are challenging. Twitter is challenging. All of those things are, we talk about our work. It's all challenging. But we're holding it together just like everybody else is trying to do. And
you're doing a very good job at it. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. I am really, really eternally grateful that you gave me this opportunity. I mean, it is the first appearance of Amalia on any podcast. And what we learned today, by the way, is I messed up by wearing a white t-shirt on a white background. So I look like a ghost.
Well,
Hey, my fans and my listeners care, Aaron. I mean, I'm like, a celebrity now. What are you talking
who
about?
you are.
Right. Stay authentic, right?
Yes.
Well, Aaron and Amalia Goodman, although she did not take your last name, we did not go into the story. This is for a future podcast. Exclusively on Unfiltered. Thank you so much.